Hey guys, Enigmatic Mr. L here. This is a video where I want to just kind of ramble a bit for my idea for a Mario RPG. So, first and foremost, I'm not really going to be talking much about gameplay mechanics. I imagine it would play somewhat similar to like the first two Paper Mario games, but without sort of the paper aesthetic. So maybe somewhat similar to like Super Mario RPG or the Mario and Luigi series in that way. I imagine it would be kind of maybe its own. It wouldn't be tied to Mario Luigi or Paper Mario. It would be a new series. Tentative names I have for it are like Mario Universe or Mario Dimensions, but what got me started thinking about this is in recent years, the developers for the Paper Mario series, I believe there was an interview or something where they said that they're not allowed to create original characters for existing Mario enemies for like an existing Mario enemy, then edit it so it's now original. And that got me think about something. What if they went with the opposite direction? Like Mario series has a lot of characters that's kind of neglected or forgotten about. I think it would be really interesting if there was a game focused on bringing back as many of them as possible, either in cameo roles, just something small, or something somewhat significant, like a story arc antagonist or partners. So, in general, these ideas, it's more so talking about a story and characters, that sort of thing. So, starting with the story for my game, the basic premise starts is Bowser raids this ancient temple trying to find this ancient artifact called the Dark Jewel, kind of similar to like the Black Jewel from Wario World, pictured here. So the Dark Jewel, it's said to grant its wielder like extreme power to not only instantly travel and warp across like space itself, no matter how great the distance, but also can open the portals to like new dimensions and that sort of thing. And it's surrounded by seven mystic orbs. So Bowser breaks in, he steals the Dark Jewel in the opening like cutscene or something, but he tries to use its power, but originally it's too much for him to handle. And all these portals start reappearing like all over the Mushroom Kingdom. They appear and disappear. They're sucking characters in, like Bowser's own troops. Some of them disappear. Kamek gets taken away, but also portals are appearing and like bringing in new characters. And it cuts to Mario and friends, like Mario's with Luigi, Peach, Toad. Luigi gets sucked up by a portal and disappears. Peach gets sucked up. Toad gets sucked up. And eventually Bowser manages to cease the whole thing. He gains enough control so all the portals stop, but the damage is already done. Like these characters that have disappeared and reappeared, the ones that disappeared, they're still gone. The new ones that appeared, they're still here. And this kind of sets up the story. I imagine Toadsworth would be like a guide for the game, kind of similar to Professor Frankly in Thousand Year Door or Merlin and Super Paper Mario. And he kind of theorizes that they're going to need to collect the seven mystic orbs in order to stand a chance against Bowser. The seven mystic orbs, they all got sucked up by different portals, and Mario needs to retrieve them. There is one portal, like in the Princess Peach's castle, that still remains open, and Toadsworth theorizes, okay, we travel this portal, we can get the first of the seven mystic gems. Once we retrieve that, that'll open a portal to this second one. The second gem will open the way to the third, and so on and so forth. We have all seven. That can lead the way to Bowser's castle. We can locate Bowser, and when all seven of these mystic orbs are collected, they have enough power to nullify the Dark Gem's power. So, yeah, basically the seven mystic orbs are probably going to be like rainbow colored, one for each color of the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And so that sets off the story. Pretty simple stuff. It was mainly just an excuse to set up these dimensions and space to bring back old characters. So the hub world for the game, I imagine it would be populated by all these neglected Mario characters that got like sucked into the Princess Peach's castle and the surrounding area, and they've temporarily made that their new home. So you got characters like Wanda from Mario and Wario, maybe Stanley from Donkey Kong 3. But also, I think it'd be really cool if we had a bunch of cameos from other Nintendo characters. Maybe something like, Tom Nook sells you like items and the like. We can get like the Squid Sisters from Splatoon. Maybe have a cameo from like Samus Aran and Link with Navi. Link wouldn't talk, but Navi would. And you could just have like a throwaway line to explain why they're not joining in with Mario. Just something like Samus, all of her equipment got lost, kind of a nod to like her own series, and Link, like similar things, just to complete a new world, uh, that sort of thing. You'd also have maybe something like Little Mac, Fox McCloud, maybe someone like Captain Falcon as well. I really think it'd be interesting if they brought in someone like Pikachu or maybe like Anna from Fire Emblem. But those games, they're technically not owned by Nintendo. They're owned by the Pokemon Company and Intelligent Systems, respectively. But even if we just went with the characters Nintendo directly owns, I think it'd be good if they just kind of appeared in the hub world. They didn't overstay or oversaturate their welcome. They were just kind of like fun little Easter eggs, and they would have like new things to say between like each major story arc, like that sort of thing. I don't know if they call them chapters or what, but I think that would be very interesting. So that sets up like the basic hub world. And then in each major world, I would imagine it's mainly focused on an old familiar location in the Mario series where Mario gains a new ally, probably more like iconic Mario character, but we're also bringing back more like neglected characters. Maybe they'd just be like NPCs, or maybe they'd have more significant role as like a story arc antagonist, like the chapter boss. So for World 1, I imagine we could just go with something like Party Land. So I imagine the first partner you get added would be Toad, fittingly enough. And the major boss of this area or story arc would be Koopa Kid from the Mario Party series. I think it'd be fun to bring him back. And also just NPCs would be various hosts of Mario Party throughout the years, like Tumble, Brighton and Twyla, MC Ballyhoo. And as a first world, I imagine some of the common enemies you would find would be like just Goombas and Koopas and that sort of thing. So then we get to World 2, which would be Subcon, the area from Super Mario USA or American Super Mario Brothers 2. The ally you get here would be Peach. I think would be fitting enough because, Smash Brothers reference her floating ability from that game. She has like a prominent role in that game. It would be a somewhat more recently, like the Nintendo games that kind of shied away from having Peach be the damsel in distress, like in Super Mario 3D World and Mario Wonder. So I think this would be kind of a nice blend of it. Like originally, she does disappear, but she doesn't really play the role of like damsel in distress, that sort of thing. So Peach would be the ally. Wart would be the major story arc antagonist. Probably Mouser can appear as like a mini boss or something. And then Birdo, after having like an antagonistic role in the American Super Mario Bros. 2, maybe she could play a more heroic role. I think that'd be interesting. Then we get to World 3, would just be like the Booze Woods, and actually this would be reference to the Luigi's Mansion series, maybe the first Luigi's Mansion, maybe the mansions in Luigi's Mansion 2 and Hotel and Luigi's Mansion 3. Common enemies would be like Booze, maybe just like the Ghost from Luigi's Mansion series. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, the previous World Subcon, imagine some of the enemies. You'd have your standard fare, maybe like Pokies and Bomb-Oms, but they could also just bring back some enemies that have been forgotten about, like Pidgeot, that sort of thing. But anyway, back to World 3. King Boo would naturally be the story arc antagonist here. I think that would be Luigi. Makes sense, obviously, as an iconic Mario character to join Mario on his quest. And Professor Egad would be a supporting role in this chapter. Then we get to World 4, Yoshi's Island, and this is where I have something of idea, maybe like Kamek in the opening cutscene gets like sucked away. We don't know what happens to him until here, where he's kind of like the closest thing the Yoshi series has to a recurring antagonist. So imagine Yoshi teaming up with Mario again, defeating Kamek as a story arc antagonist. I'm not sure what they could really do for NPCs here. I imagine it'd just be like various color different Yoshis. I did consider bringing back some like the baby characters, like Baby Wario only appeared in like Yoshi's Island DS, but time travel paradoxes, that sort of thing, I just didn't want to get into it. We kind of had a big time traveling thing before in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. So I imagine they probably just have cameos like it's like statues or that sort of thing. Maybe like somewhere see like the statue of Baby Donkey Kong, Baby Wario, etc. So Then we get to World 5, which would be Donkey Kong Jungle. Donkey Kong, once, the original rival to Mario, sort of, in like title, is now teaming up with him to defeat King K. Rool, who's been absent for a long time. And, of course, the NPCs just our obvious picks here. We could have the big DK crew, Dixie Kong, Diddy Kong, Cranky Kong. Also bringing back maybe like Funky Kong, Candy Kong, Wrinkly Kong, Swanky Kong, maybe even like Kiddy Kong from Donkey Kong Country 3, and the crew from Donkey Kong 64, Chunky Kong, Lanky Kong, and Tiny Kong, and of course the Kremlings could be most of the major enemies you face in this world. Don't know about Donkey Kong Jr. Nintendo's kind of been like inconsistent on whether like Donkey Kong Jr. grew up to be the original Donkey Kong or is like the father of Donkey Kong, but that just raised the question what happened to him. I imagine the same thing like Baby Wario. You get like a reference just like as a statue or like a picture in the background or something like that. We get to World 6, Diamond City. So I imagine Wario would be here originally in his biker outfit, and eventually once Mario persuades him to like join his cause, he switches to his plumber outfit, facing off against Captain Syrup, who is the main antagonist of Wario Land, and I believe Wario Land 2. Plus, she also makes an appearance in Wario Land Shake It. NPCs, of course, here would be like the WarioWare crew, Mona, Ashley, 9Volt, Orbulon, etc., Jimmy T. So I think they could have some like fun interactions. And then just the enemies here, you could bring back some of the like all the weird enemies from like the Wario Land series. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. Then we get to World 7, Sarasaland. Daisy would be the final partner you unlock here. And the main story arc antagonist would be Tatanga, who was the main antagonist of Super Mario Land 1, was like appeared as a boss in Super Mario Land 2, and just has been completely doormat since then. I think it would be really fun to like revisit this area, bring back the weird Mario enemies like the Shell Bomber and the Goombos, like that sort of thing. I don't know what they would do about NPCs. Maybe just have like the bosses of the original Super Mario Land be more like friendly now, like that sort of thing. They could have NPC roles, but there's various options here. And then we got to the final world, World 8, and we're bringing back all these, old forgotten characters, but we're not going to, forget about the current ones. The final showdown is against Bowser himself. He's the main antagonist from start to finish. I imagine his role will be kind of similar to like in Paper Mario, where he is the main antagonist. He does have some like funny moments, and he's kind of comical in some ways, but he can also be like a serious threat in others. Like I imagine what kind of starts this whole business is, he loses control of the Dark Gem at first, but like Codsworth implies that if he ever manages, the longer he has it, the more likely he has control of its power. And if we like delay long enough, the power to warp across like all dimensions at once would be way too much for someone like him we could face. So there's kind of like a time limit thing. And then like sub bosses, I imagine we could bring back Bowser's quote unquote like brother from Lost Levels or fake Bowser. Might just be like a reference. Maybe Bowser would appear blue at one moment. Like they might not directly have him there, but just some sort of reference. And his right hand man could just be, since Kamek gets taken away, just its second in command would be Bowser Jr. I did consider having the Koopalings here, and if the Koopalings had been long doormat, I definitely would have brought them back in some capacity. But I think taking a break for like this game, all the other characters, putting in like 7 mini bosses at once might be a bit too much for the final world. So maybe I could see them working in some capacity though. And those are my ideas. Just something I, quickly threw together. Just, watching the videos, talking about like forgotten or obscure Mario characters, how nice it'd be to bring them back. And it's like, instead of bringing out 1 or 2 back, what if we had like an 8 game, bring them all back? I think it's a little too ambitious for like a platformer. Like Mario games aren't known for their stories, but like especially the platformers. But like an RPG, especially like a new title, I think it could work. So, questions, comments, rude or snidey remarks, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. This is Enigmatic Mr. L signing out.